You've rehearsed this moment 100 times. In the shower, on the commute, lying awake at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling. You've imagined exactly what you'd say, how you'd say it, what expression you'd wear. Calm, unbothered, professional. But now you're sitting outside your manager's office waiting to be called in, and your hands are shaking. Not from fear, from something else entirely. Something that feels like the first breath after being underwater for a very long time. You woke up this morning at 6:15, same as always. Alarm, shower, coffee, same routine you've had for 6 years. But this morning you ironed your best shirt, not because anyone told you to, because today deserved it. Today is the last day, and you wanted to look like someone who made a choice, not someone who was pushed. On the commute in, you watched the other passengers. The man across from you had his eyes closed, not sleeping, just somewhere else. The woman in the corner was staring at her phone, scrolling without really seeing. A younger guy in an ill-fitting suit was mouthing something quietly, rehearsing a presentation maybe, or a conversation he was dreading. 6 years ago, that was you. Nervous, eager, believing that if you just worked hard enough, showed up reliably enough, said yes enough times, it would eventually become something more. And in some ways it did. You learned, you grew, you became good at something. But somewhere along the way you realized that being good at someone else's dream was not the same thing as building your own. Year 1. You were grateful just to be there. You stayed late. You volunteered for everything. You believed in the company the way you believed in things before life teaches you to read the fine print. Year 2. Your first real project, your first real win. Your name in an email chain being praised. You screenshot it and sent it to your mother. Year 3. The first time you realized the promotion went to someone who was better at talking about work than doing it. You told yourself it was fine. You worked harder. Year 4. The pandemic. Remote work. Sitting in your apartment realizing that the thing you'd been building your identity around could disappear overnight. And also realizing, in the quiet of those long lockdown days, that you were happier without the commute, without the office politics, without the performance of being seen to be working. Year 5. You started building something on the side, quietly, in the early mornings before work and the late nights after. Nobody knew. You didn't talk about it. You just built. Year 6. The side project started making money, then more than your salary, and you sat with that fact for 3 months before you allowed yourself to believe it was real. And now it's year 6, month 9, and you're sitting outside your manager's office, hands shaking, ready. Your manager is a decent person. You want to be clear about that. This isn't a story about a villain. Most of the time, the thing keeping you stuck isn't a bad person. It's a comfortable system, a predictable paycheck, benefits, the illusion of security. She looks up when you walk in, smiles, gestures to the chair across from her desk. You sit down, and before she can say anything, you say, "I wanted to talk to you about something. I've made the decision to resign." Silence. Not long, maybe 3 seconds, but those 3 seconds feel like a whole conversation. "I see," she says. "Can I ask what's next for you?" And this is the moment you've rehearsed. Except now that it's here, the rehearsed answer feels small compared to the real one. The real answer is freedom, ownership, the terrifying, exhilarating possibility of building something that is entirely mine. But you just smile and say, "I'm pursuing something I've been building on my own. It's time." She nods slowly, like she understands more than she's saying. You spend the rest of the day tying up loose ends, handing things over, saying goodbye to people you genuinely like, promising to stay in touch and meaning it with most of them. Someone asks if you're scared. You think about it honestly. "Yeah," you say, "a little, but I think I'd be more scared to stay." They nod, and in their eyes you see something you recognize, the same longing you felt for years. The same calculation everyone runs quietly in their heads. What if? What would I do if I actually tried? You want to tell them, try. But you know that advice only lands when someone is ready for it. And readiness isn't something anyone can give you. At 5 p.m., you close your laptop for the last time. Stand up. Look around the office one more time. And then you walk out. No dramatic music, no slow motion, just a door opening and closing behind you. You sit in your car in the parking garage for a while. Not because you're sad, just because you want to feel the weight of the moment before it becomes a memory. 6 years. Thousands of hours. Late nights and early mornings and missed weekends and vacations you couldn't fully enjoy because your laptop was always within reach. Was it wasted time? No. You learned things you couldn't have learned any other way. You developed discipline. You understood systems. You met people who shaped you. The 6 years weren't wasted. They were the education that made today possible. But they were always supposed to be preparation, not destination. You start the car, drive home, order your favorite food, sit on your couch in comfortable silence. Tomorrow morning there is no alarm, no commute, no manager, no performance review. Tomorrow morning there is only the work, your work, and the terrifying, beautiful, enormous freedom to do it on your own terms. Here is what they don't tell you about quitting. It doesn't feel like freedom immediately. It feels like standing at the edge of something very tall and very open. The wind is cold and the drop is real, and for a moment you wonder if you made a mistake. But then you remember the 6 years, the alarm at 6:15, the meetings that went nowhere, the feeling of building someone else's dream with your best hours. And you realize the drop was always there. The only difference is that now you're the one who decides whether to jump. You already jumped, and the falling, it turns out, feels a lot like flying.